Hi everyone, Coach Joe here, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. Hey, in this show, what you're going to do is tap into my over 25 years and 50,000 individual coaching sessions, specifically with financial advisors. I'm going to make you a better entrepreneur, a better business person, and a better financial advisor. Also, if you like what you see here, please go ahead and subscribe to the Magellan Network Show with Coach Joe here in YouTube. With that said, let's get into it. Hi, welcome to the Magellan Network Podcast with Coach Joe. We are in the final push to wrap up 2018. And what I want to do in this episode is really give everybody, all advisors, some ideas, some concepts, some strategies to really make the fall the best possible. You know, the reality is this: you're in one of three places right now in 2018. Number one, you're having a great year. You know, you're exceeding your goals. Things are going well. Not saying there's not been any adversity, but we're feeling really, really good about things. And so the challenge for you is to not let your foot off the gas and create some bad habits. You know, a lot of times when I'm coaching my clients and we're really ahead of curve, I have to often challenge them, have them raise the bar, because a lot of times the fall sets up all the momentum for next spring, next first quarter. And so we want to really, really be sure that we're moving things along the way we need to. Number two, you're having a decent year, but it's iffy whether or not you're going to accomplish all your goals. So here's what I'll say about that. You know, here's the reality. In our industry, it's very dynamic. And what I mean by being very dynamic is you don't know what the next referral is going to bring you. You don't know what clients are going to have a liquidity event. There's so many different things that can happen. And so what we need to recognize, what you need to recognize, is you've got to keep working. You've got to keep, quote unquote, grinding, right? You've got to be relentless in your pursuit of making your year happen. So again, I would encourage you to double down your efforts. Let's drive this thing. I've had clients literally around Thanksgiving, and we're sitting around like we had a decent year, but you know what? I don't know if we're going to get into our goals. And you know what? You keep working it. You don't know what that next referral is. You keep reminding your clients you're open for business. Good things happen. So we want to continue that into the fall of 2018, throughout the holidays of 2018. Third place. And again, it's unfortunate, which we'll have another subject on that. You know, maybe you haven't had such a great year. Maybe there's been some personal adversity. Maybe you just got off track. Maybe you just kind of wandered into the year and never really thought, and you never thought about what you wanted to accomplish. So a little strategy that I recommend. It's easy to say to yourself, well, I'll just wait till 2019. I'll just wait till next year. Right? What I need you to think about, and what I would love for you to adapt, is that start your 2019 now. Think of this, we'll use some sports analogies. Think of this as preseason, spring training, right? Whatever you want to do. Like, now is the time to get things happening. Think in terms of almost a 15-month year, 2018, 2019. I find it all the time. We kind of almost give up a little bit. We go into this survival mode. And then the next thing, quite frankly, you're sitting around and waiting for January to start, like something magical is going to happen. And for some of you, maybe that's been your entire career. You've got to decide to break that pattern. You've got to decide, you know what? I need to do something different. I need a new dynamic. So there's some ideas there. And then the other thing, quite frankly, you want to do is you want to really make sure that you're very clear on what you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year. So make sure you pull out your business plans, your goals, and see what's left to do, right? Very, very, very important. So there's a couple of things I want you to really think about and strategize on as we go through the next couple of months. So what else happens? Well, it's conference schedule, right? Everybody's out there doing conferences. All the major custodians have their conferences for the most part. And so we spend a lot of time out of the office. So again, it's very important that we get back and be focused. This is the window, and I want you to think about this, from about Labor Day till maybe mid-November. You might get a little later into November. That is the prime window to get things done with people. Once Thanksgiving comes in the United States and we get into the holiday season, I'm never going to say you cannot do business, because I've seen clients do business in, literally New Year's Eve. We're getting something done for tax purposes. But why do you want to live your life that way? Right? Why wait till the last minute? So what I need you to really think about is making those shifts, right? And make sure those things happen. Now, real quick story. I was talking to one of my clients this week, and having a great year. And there's this tendency to have what I call the sandbag conversation, right? So in other words, hey, if I stop working today, I've accomplished all my goals for the year, and I'm thinking about taking my foot off the gas, and almost like a squirrel with the nuts. I'm going to hold off all my success until 2019. I'm going to kind of keep all those opportunities and kind of push them off. Number one, I don't know what that's going to do from a fiduciary standpoint, so it's probably not a good idea. Number two, I've always believed it creates some bad habits, some bad strategies. So I don't recommend that at all. I think what you really need to do is just, put your foot on the gas, crush it. Let's see what we can. This was a conversation he and I had, back and forth about 10 minutes. And, I tend to win those conversations, by the way, just for everybody's, purpose. And I told myself, look, if you take your foot off the gas, here's what's going to happen. You're gonna dial down your morning success ritual. You're gonna fluff your daily game plan. All your habits and your mindset and everything, you're gonna think you're like on almost quasi vacation for the next 90 days. It will come back to bite you in the butt big time in 2019. So that's what happens, right? Remember, in our industry, again, I don't care if you do financial planning, you're on the insurance side of the game, registered investment advisor, wirehouse financial advisor, it really doesn't matter. The business cards are different. The success skills and the success habits are the same. We're all human beings, right? So don't forget that, okay? And what we have to remember is that this business is all about habits and behaviors. This is not about how smart you are, although it helps. What really matters is, do you know what you need to do every day to be successful in detail, right? So when somebody says to me, well, I need to talk to people. Okay, how many? I need to set up meetings. Okay, how many? I need to, discuss referrals and introductions. Great, how many? You have to get it down into that detail. That's critically important. And what I find, especially when I talk to new people, people that seek me out for either advice, guidance, counseling, is that we tend to have what I call an imprecise communication model with ourselves. We talk about two words which are very scary for us: more and better. Okay? Well, Joe, I know I need to have more meetings. I need to do a better job at, right? And if you're using that language, as part of the way you approach this business or even approach life, you're going to kind of do things, but they're not going to be consistent. They're going to get you somewhat of a result, but not the result you truly, truly want. Because when you communicate to yourself imprecise, your brain tries to figure out, what does this mean? What does more mean? What does better mean? And since you don't have that conversation with yourself to quantify it, you end up soft. Remember something: a confused human being cannot take action. Remember that. A confused human being cannot take action. So even if you're sitting with it, and we're not going sideways here, but to make my point, so if you're sitting with a prospect and you talk, with imprecision, you're not giving them enough data points for them to make a decision. Well, in essence, you're sitting with yourself, having that self-conversation, and you're imprecise. I need to do a better job. I need to do more of. So I want you to stop. So for example, I need to get to the gym more often. Let's change that. I need to be there 4 times a week for a minimum of 30 minutes. Now your brain goes, okay, we can put a plan around that. I need to make sure I have 8 to 10 meetings a week. Your brain can get around that. I need to talk to between 10 and 15 people a day between clients and prospects. Your brain can get around that. That's not more. That's not better. That's precision communication with yourself. You need to do that. Okay, so there's some strategies. Now, let's just say that you're struggling with anything, right? So I don't care if you struggle leading your team. I don't care if you struggle rainmaking. I don't care if you struggle, relating to people. You're overwhelmed. Your office is like a bomb hit it, whatever it is, right? The first thing you need to do, is that you need to, number one, be honest with yourself and say, you know what? This is not the standard I need. And never tell yourself I'll do it later. Later never happens in our world. What you need to do is say, you know what? Starting now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow it gives you too much flexibility, right? Too much slide. Whenever you make a decision, find some small mechanism of action. Maybe you need to call somebody. Maybe you need to sign up for something. Maybe you need to go get something. Maybe you need to, lock the door in your office and clean up for 15, 20 minutes. You need to clear your desk. But you do some level of action. And remember, the more uncomfortable things are, the more uncomfortable things can be for you, the better they tend to be for you, right? So in other words, I have a saying that I use every day for myself, and I talk to my clients about it all the time, which is, let's have an uncomfortable day. What does that mean? Push yourself. Call the prospect you haven't heard from. Have the tough conversation with the client that needs that tough love. You need to do those things. The faster you're willing to accept being uncomfortable, the faster your growth. And I think a lot of advisors, because it's easy in our space, look, and I say this as respectfully as I can, if you just do some things somewhat well for a period of time, you'll probably make 6 figures in this business. Now, low 6, when you'll crack 100K. That is not by any stretch of the imagination setting the world on fire. But it is double the median income of American families. So think about that. You could be a totally dysfunctional human being and make 6 figures in our business. Show me another profession where you can be a dysfunctional human being and make 6 figures. It really doesn't exist. And that's the power of our industry. That's the power of our profession. So imagine if you can harness that. Imagine if you can sit there and figure some things out to move your needle. The difference between a person making 6 figures and 7 figures in our industry, very simple. Their psychology, their mindset. Bottom line. They're not any smarter. They didn't go to better schools. They weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They understood themselves. Whether it happened by accident or on purpose, doesn't matter. They get it. And I'm saying to everybody here, all of us can get it. I've been blessed and privileged for the last 25 and a half years to coach exclusively in this space. I've done probably 51,000 individual coaching sessions with advisors in that time. So I know what it takes. I know what it takes to make things happen. And what I'm saying to everybody here who's listening to me and watching me is this. If you're not where you want to be in your career, in your business, good news. You are the cause of it, and you're also the solution for it. But, and here's a huge caveat, don't sit there and lie to yourself that, well, I'll just do a little bit better next time, or I've got to get organized, or I've got to get disciplined. Dude, you've had that conversation for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. Who knows? And guess what? Hasn't worked. Maybe it's time for a different dynamic. Maybe it's time to get uncomfortable. Earlier last year, for the first time, and I'm in my mid-50s, I've been working out with weights in the gyms since I was probably 13, 14 years old. I vowed my entire adult life never to get a personal trainer. Didn't need them. I know what I'm doing. I can figure it out, right? Until one day I woke up and I realized, you know what? I'm not reaching my full potential. Maybe it's time to, eat your own cooking, Joe. And I changed gyms, and I got a personal trainer. And they kick my ass. I work out harder now than I did in my 30s. And the reason why? Because I got somebody with their thumb in my back, pushing my ass to do that extra rep, not to rest, keep things going. Sometimes all of us need that little second voice with their thumb in our back. So I want you to consider that as you look at the rest of 2018 and think about what you want to do in 2019, what you need to do different. Last point. Remember, we are in the window, the beginnings of a window that's going to go for the next, I think, 2024, 2026, where we have all the boomers, a vast majority of baby boomers retiring, a vast majority of advisors retiring. So if you're looking to make your mark in this industry and you're looking to make your mark for yourself and your family, this is the time. I hate when people say, man, I wish it was like it was back in the early 2000s or 1990s or, all that. Hey, that's a bunch of BS. There's no better time to be in this industry than right now. And all we need to do is just see it for what it is and look for those opportunities. So I want to thank you all for listening and watching. Thank you for spending time today with our Magellan podcast. Thank you, and I'll see you all again very soon. So there you have it. If you've enjoyed watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show here on YouTube, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also, I want to offer you a complimentary 14-day free trial to my group coaching and mentoring program, the Magellan Network. So go ahead and visit MagellanNetwork.net. That's MagellanNetwork.net. And I'll hook you up 14 days, no strings. I promise you that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on our next episode.